Hey Ron, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Well, I'm looking forward to coming out there next week. I got a couple business meetings next week, and then we're going to hang out. And I thought it would be cool if, when we were hanging out, if you just wanted to invite some real estate agents out to whatever it was, brunch, lunch, happy hour, whatever we decide to do. And when I do live presentations, I always do something called Script Smackdown. And what I do is I invite audience members to take and give me any objection that they get that they think that they could stump me with, and then I answer the challenge, if you will, the script. And in this scenario, I guess because we're going to a restaurant or wherever we're going, if somebody stumps me and I couldn't answer it or I couldn't crush that, then I'll buy them like an appetizer or a drink or whatever it would be, something like that, to throw that challenge out there. And the reason that, I love doing these, because in the real estate business, what I found is that everybody's so focused on lead generation that we ignore lead conversion. And we never focus on how do we turn leads into business. Or, hey, I want to get listing appointments. How do I actually get that listing? And so I love just hanging out, and it's very casual. We'll do whatever we're going to do, lunch or whatever time we're going to do it. And, maybe 12, no more than 15 people, just because it gets too crowded. I want to be able to help deliver some value. We're not selling anything. I'm just there. I'm going to be in Salt Lake for business anyway, so we might as well, you and I always hang out. So I thought we'd do that. And maybe what I do right now is talk about one of the most common objections I get, to give some folks that might watch this an idea of what we're going to do or what kind of answers they could expect in doing this. So how's that sound to you?
I think that sounds great.
All right, cool. So the number one objection I get that usually seems to resonate is, in a listing appointment, they want to negotiate commission. I got somebody who'll do it for 4. I have somebody who'll do it for 5, or can you do it for those numbers, right? The truth is, in my opinion, if you have powerful listing things like you utilize, that rarely comes up. Does it come up for you guys often?
Not now. It did when I first started.
Yeah, and so next week what we'll do is we'll actually walk through some of the things that you do in the listing presentation that just blows people away, right?
Yeah, that'd be great.
So I'll go through that when we're live, right? So a little too long for video. But the real question for listings is, what I found is that like 99.99% of realtors don't understand why we get paid what we get paid. And I know you now know the answer, but why is it that we get paid a 6 or a 7 or an 8% commission? And I know if you're sitting there watching going 8%, yeah, a lot of my listings I'd get paid 8%. And the reality of it is, everybody wants to make it about my expertise or my marketing or any of those things. It has absolutely nothing to do with any of that. Where did that number 6 or 7 come from? Well, the reality of it is, we get paid what we get paid for one reason, and the answer is liability. The reason we get paid so well is the minute a listing signs a listing agreement, what in effect they're doing is they're transferring about 98% of the liability from them to us, right? Then we actually have E&O insurance policies, and now I have an even bigger target on my back from an attorney. And again, most people don't realize that 25% of every lawsuit in the United States is real estate related. So it's not uncommon for a realtor to get sued, right? So the reality of it is, we take these big dollar amounts because we get liability. So the question becomes always to me is, well, why do we charge a 6% commission on $1 million house and get $60,000? And on a $100,000 house, we charge the same 6%. Do we really spend, $54,000 more in marketing on $1 million property?
Probably not.
Nope. And the reason that we do is because we have a lot more liability on $1 million property, right? Can somebody who's buying $1 million house afford a lawyer? Yes. Number 2, if something was wrong, I don't know. I mean, one of the latest lawsuits I seen was that there was a roof leak, and the roof in the baby's nursery ended up coming down and seriously injuring the baby.
Oh, wow.
Well, if that was $1 million property, do you know how much you'd get sued for?
Lots.
Lots. And the reality, in $1 million, in a $100,000 house, they're not going to have the same amount of money for legal fees. Now, I don't explain all that in a listing presentation, but I think it's important for agents to understand we get paid the money we get paid because we're taking on the liability. Will the seller get dragged into the lawsuit? Absolutely. But a lawyer is going to take and target us because we have E&O insurance, and they know that an E&O insurance company is going to settle. So my answer when somebody says, hey, can we do this at 4 or 5%? My answer is pretty simple. I go, Ron, I'd be happy to negotiate commission with you. But what most people don't realize is the reason that we get paid what we get paid is that the minute you sign that listing agreement, I'm taking and absorbing about 98% of all liability for this transaction. And what that means is if something were to happen in this transaction a year from now, there was a roof leak and you didn't know about it, or any of these scenarios, and they come back and sue us, they're going to come after me first because I have E&O insurance. So what I'm doing is I'm absorbing all your liability. So I'm more than happy to negotiate commissions with you, but I have a waiver form that was prepared by my attorney. Ron, if you're happy and comfortable in waiving all my liability, agreeing to pay my legal fees should something ever occur, and the deductible on my E&O insurance, then if you're willing to do that, then I would be comfortable in negotiating commissions. Is that something you'd be comfortable in doing?
No.
And there's the end of that answer. And that's exactly what happens. Now, in full disclosure, I hardly ever had that come up because the listing presentation is so powerful in what we do. But I just had one of our clients in Southern California tell me that there's a whole group of people out there trying to buy houses and saying, hey, I'll only pay you. I want you to give me 2% of the 3% commission back. And if not, I've got a friend who will do it. Well, in California, 1 in every 7 people is a realtor. So they've got relatives doing those kinds of things. So you better be prepared to answer those kinds of questions in a listing presentation. Yet I find, honestly, till you had heard that in one of our live training things, you didn't even think of that one either, right?
Nope, I didn't.
And if we don't understand what our value is and why we get paid what we get paid, then how in the world could we expect the consumer to do it? And the handful of times that I've had to use that scripting, and I do have a waiver drawn out by my attorney that I put in front of them, it's about 19 pages long. Every one of them's like, no, that's okay. Because we have to understand what we really get paid for. And so I thought what we'd do is we'd just hang out and I would talk about all those kind of things. And the reason I want to kind of keep it maybe no more than 15, 12 is a little bit better, is that it gives me a chance to go into more in-depth stuff where if they have questions on it, or, you know, I'll take and go through FSBO scripts and expired scripts. And I know in Utah, you guys have probably one of the more extreme housing shortages, right?
It's terrible.
I mean, it's bad in most of the country, but I actually think you guys really do have it worse of all. So the question is, A, how many FSBOs are out there? B, do listings even expire? And then how do you get into those without doing the same stuff as every other realtor, right? We have something we call Red Zebra strategy. What that means is, what is it that you do as a realtor to stand out? So next week, I'll just spend a couple hours. We'll hang out. Again, very casual. I probably even just wear shorts, so don't be real formal. We'll just hang out. You guys can throw any objections out at me that you want. I'll explain anything in detail. We'll talk about what we do in a listing presentation, how you convert buyer leads. You know, another big one that we always get, well, my brother-in-law is a realtor, and he's going to give me all the commission back. How would you like to be able to bust that down every time, every single time, and get that person? And so we'll do that next week. So I thought that would be pretty cool. That would be fun for me to just hang out for a couple hours. Should be pretty informative for most other people, right?
Hey, and I'm very appreciative of you coming too, because I know you typically charge $2,000 for putting on a webinar.
Yep.
And the fact you're willing to do this is a favor for me. I really appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. I mean, you and I were going to hang out anyway, so I just said, hey, do you want to do it this way and get some agents together and brainstorm and do some of those things? Because I know a lot of people think, well, realtors, we're all competing with each other, and at the end of the day, no, we're not. For me, I personally always want to find, 15, 20 realtors that do a really good job and are easy to work with, and I would rather sell their listings first. And so one of my goals always was to take and find the best of the best realtors and then work together with them. So I'd just simply say, Ron, the minute you take a listing, man, let me know about it, because I would rather show your listings than somebody who's going to screw up a deal. And so I think it's helpful to all of us to be able to take and build that kind of network inside of our own market, and work with other agents that we know, like, and trust, and we know do a good job. And so to me, this is just a good way to do that kind of stuff. So
awesome.
And it's fun for me. I love sitting there doing that, because lead conversion is the most overlooked part of our business, and yet really one of the easiest when you know how. So that's what we're going to do next week. So hey, I thought we'd shoot this video, and if you want to send it out to whoever you want to send it to, and if they think it'd be cool to attend and learn some of that stuff, awesome.
Awesome. So, thank you so much. I'll look forward to seeing you next week.
All right. Have a good day. Talk to you soon.
See ya. Okay, bye.
All right. Bye, guys.